The story of premium onion powder does not begin inside the factory. It begins hundreds of miles away in vast open farmlands across the United States, where agriculture meets patience, science, and tradition. These farms are not small patches of land. They are enormous fields stretching as far as the eye can see, carefully managed to produce onions specifically suited for dehydration and long-term storage. Every decision made at this stage directly affects the quality of the final powder. Farmers select onion varieties based on flavor intensity, sugar content, moisture levels, and durability. Not every onion is suitable for powder production. Some are too mild, others too watery. The onions grown for premium powder must strike a perfect balance between sharpness and sweetness. Throughout the growing season, farmers monitor soil nutrients, irrigation schedules, and weather patterns. Advanced sensors and data-driven farming techniques are often used to ensure consistent crop quality across thousands of acres. Timing is critical. Onions harvested too early lack full flavor development. Harvested too late, they may begin to soften or sprout, reducing shelf stability. When the onions reach peak maturity, harvesting begins immediately. Massive harvesting machines move across the fields with precision, loosening the soil and lifting the onions gently to avoid bruising. The green tops are trimmed, and the bulbs are collected in bulk. That dust fills the air as tons of onions are lifted from the earth, marking the transition from agriculture to industry. Once harvested, speed becomes essential. Fresh onions are highly perishable, and delays can compromise quality. Within hours, truckloads of onions are transported directly to one of the largest onion processing factories in the United States. These facilities are strategically located near farming regions to minimize transport time and preserve freshness. As trucks approach the factory gates, the scale of the operation becomes clear: multiple loading docks, constant movement, and a non-stop flow of raw materials entering the system. The first stage inside the factory is intake and inspection. Each truckload is weighed and logged into a digital tracking system. This allows full traceability, linking every batch of onion powder back to its farm of origin. Quality control teams conduct visual and physical inspections, checking onion size, firmness, moisture content, and signs of decay or damage. Any onions that fail to meet strict standards are immediately removed. This zero-compromise approach ensures that only the best raw material enters the production line. Approved onions are unloaded onto massive conveyor systems that feed into the cleaning area. At this stage, hygiene becomes the top priority. Industrial air blowers remove loose dirt and debris, followed by thorough washing in rotating drums. Clean, filtered water sprays over the onions, removing soil, bacteria, and agricultural residue. This step is carefully controlled to clean the onions without saturating them, as excess moisture could affect later dehydration. After washing, the onions move to automated peeling systems, one of the most impressive examples of factory precision. Instead of manual peeling, the largest U.S. factories use mechanical peelers combined with air blast technology. The onions pass through rollers that loosen the dry outer skins, while high-pressure air jets strip them away. The process happens in seconds, yet it removes skins efficiently without damaging the edible layers underneath. The discarded onion skins are not wasted. In modern facilities, sustainability is built into the process. Skins are collected and repurposed as compost, biofuel, or animal feed additives. This ensures that nearly every part of the onion is used, reducing waste and environmental impact. Once peeled, the onions are smooth, clean, and ready for slicing. They move seamlessly into high-speed slicing machines designed for absolute consistency. These machines cut thousands of onions per minute into perfectly uniform slices. Uniformity is not just about appearance, it is essential for dehydration. Uneven slices would dry at different rates, leading to flavor loss or spoilage. Precision slicing ensures every piece dehydrates evenly, preserving taste and aroma. The factory floor at this stage feels almost hypnotic. Conveyor belts flow continuously, machines operate in synchronized rhythm, and onion slices move forward without interruption. Human workers oversee the process, monitoring screens, adjusting settings, and stepping in only when necessary. This balance between automation and human supervision is what allows the factory to operate at such massive scale while maintaining strict quality standards. Throughout this early stage, sensors constantly measure temperature, humidity, belt speed, and slice thickness. If any variable moves outside the acceptable range, the system alerts operators instantly. This level of monitoring ensures consistency across every batch, whether the factory is processing 10 tons or 1,000 tons of onions in a single day. What makes this stage truly remarkable is how seamlessly agriculture transitions into industrial precision. Raw onions, once pulled from the soil, are transformed into clean, uniformly sliced components ready for dehydration, all within a matter of hours. There is no room for guesswork. Every movement, every cut, and every inspection is calculated. This early phase defines the quality of the final product. No amount of advanced dehydration or grinding can fix poor raw material or sloppy preparation. That is why the largest U.S. factories invest heavily in this front end of the process. It is here that flavor is protected, contamination is eliminated, and consistency is established. By the time the onions leave this stage, they no longer resemble the produce found in grocery stores. They are precision, prepared ingredients, engineered for the next transformation. What started as a humble crop grown under open skies has now entered a controlled, a high-tech environment where science and engineering take over. This is the foundation of premium onion powder. Before a single slice is dried or ground, the process ensures that only the best onions, handled with care and precision, move forward. It is a powerful reminder that even the most advanced food factories depend on one simple truth: quality begins at the source. After careful farming, inspection, washing, peeling, and precision slicing, the onions reach the most critical phase of their transformation. This is the point where fresh produce becomes a shelf-stable, flavor-dense ingredient. Dehydration is the heart of the entire operation, and in the largest U.S. onion factories, it is treated with almost scientific reverence. Every decision made here determines aroma strength, color, texture, and shelf life. Fresh onion slices are composed mostly of water. Removing that water without destroying flavor is a delicate balancing act. The slices are evenly spread across wide conveyor belts and guided into massive industrial dehydration tunnels. These tunnels stretch for hundreds of feet, forming controlled environments where temperature, airflow, and humidity are precisely managed. Powerful fans circulate heated air, but the heat is never aggressive. Instead, it is carefully calibrated to draw moisture out slowly. As the onion slices travel through the tunnels, something remarkable happens. The layers begin to shrink, curl, and lighten in weight. Nearly 90% of their original water content evaporates. Yet, the compounds responsible for flavor and aroma remain locked inside. This slow dehydration process concentrates taste rather than diminishing it. What exits the tunnel is no longer a vegetable. It is a highly concentrated flavor source. The factory atmosphere changes at this stage. A strong, unmistakable onion aroma fills the air, that evidence that volatile flavor compounds are being preserved rather than destroyed. Sensors monitor internal moisture levels continuously. If slices are even slightly under-dried, they risk microbial growth. Over-dry them, and the flavor turns bitter. Achieving the perfect balance requires constant adjustments and real-time data analysis. Once dehydration is complete, the dried onion pieces exit the tunnels and move into cooling systems. Cooling may seem like a minor step, but it is essential. Warm dried onions exposed to cooler air can attract condensation, which would undo hours of careful drying. Cooling chambers gently bring the temperature down, stabilizing the product and preparing it for grinding. At this point, the onions are brittle, lightweight, and intensely aromatic. They flow into grinding units, large industrial mills designed specifically for dehydrated vegetables. Inside these machines, rotating blades and crushing mechanisms reduce the dried onion pieces into powder. The transformation is dramatic. Solid flakes are broken down into fine particles that flow like sand. Grinding is not a single-step process. Different products require different textures. Some customers want ultra-fine powder for seasoning blends. Others prefer slightly coarse granules for soups, sauces, or snack coatings. The factory can adjust grinding parameters to produce a range of particle sizes, all from the same dehydrated base. This flexibility allows one facility to supply multiple industries simultaneously. After grinding, the onion powder passes through a series of vibrating sieves. These screen separate particles by size, ensuring uniformity. Larger particles are redirected back to the grinders, while perfectly sized powder continues forward. This step ensures that every batch looks and behaves the same, whether it ends up in a spice jar or an industrial food mix. Quality control becomes even more intense at this stage. Samples are taken from each batch and sent to on-site laboratories. Technicians test moisture content, particle size distribution, color consistency, aroma strength, and microbial safety. Advanced equipment checks for contaminants, ensuring the product meets both U.S. regulations and international export standards. Taste testing also plays a role. Trained sensory panels evaluate aroma and flavor intensity. Premium onion powder must deliver consistent strength from batch to batch. If a customer uses 1 teaspoon today, it should taste the same months later from a different shipment. Achieving that level of consistency is one of the greatest challenges and achievements of large-scale food processing. Once approved, the onion powder moves into automated packaging lines. These systems operate with extraordinary speed and precision. The powder is measured by weight, funneled into containers, and sealed in seconds. Packaging formats vary widely. Small jars and pouches are prepared for retail shelves. Large bags are filled for restaurants. Massive industrial sacks are produced for food manufacturers that use onion powder as an ingredient in processed foods. Every package is labeled with batch numbers, production dates, and traceability codes. This allows the factory to track any product back through every stage of the process, all the way to the farm where the onions were grown. Traceability is not optional. It is a core requirement for operating at this scale. Before distribution, packaged onion powder is moved into climate-controlled warehouses. Temperature and humidity are tightly regulated to preserve flavor and prevent clumping. These warehouses can hold thousands of pallets, forming a buffer between production and global demand. Inventory systems track stock levels in real time, ensuring that orders are filled efficiently. From here, the product enters the global supply chain. Forklifts load pallets onto trucks that depart the factory around the clock. Some shipments travel across the United States, supplying supermarkets and food service providers. Others are loaded into shipping containers bound for international markets. The same onion powder produced in one U.S. factory may end up flavoring snacks in Asia, soups in Europe, and ready meals in the Middle East. What makes this final stage especially impressive is efficiency. Modern factories aim to use nearly every part of the onion and every unit of energy. Waste heat from dehydration systems is often recycled. Onion skins and fine dust particles are repurposed instead of discarded. Water used in washing systems is filtered and reused where possible. Sustainability is no longer a bonus, it is built into the design. By the time onion powder reaches consumers, its journey is complete. It is stable, safe, and packed with flavor. A single spoonful carries the essence of multiple onions, preserved through careful dehydration and precise engineering. The simplicity of the final product hides the complexity behind it. This is the invisible world behind everyday ingredients. Dehydration, grinding, and distribution transform fresh onions into a global commodity without sacrificing quality. It is a process driven by data, technology, and discipline, yet grounded in a simple goal: delivering reliable flavor to kitchens everywhere. From raw slices to fine powder, from factory floor to global supply chains, this stage completes the transformation. What began in open farmland now travels the world in a compact, powerful form. Proof that modern food manufacturing can combine scale, precision, and quality in a single process.